I was a young lawyer and, being at a bigger firm felt more secure. But Elliot's vision, which I think he's actually put on paper, was that we were going to have a practice of friends.
Today we're back with another episode of the CPMT podcast, and we're going to go a little different route today and go and start talking about the history of the firm with one of our founding partners and my father, Steve Merlin. So I guess, Dad, why don't you just get us started with kind of how the firm got started and how we kind of got where we are now.
Sure. So the firm was started May the 1st, 1977. Means we've been around for 46 years. Elliot Cohen, Marty Pollock, and myself were practicing in what at that time in 1977 was a mid-sized Atlanta firm. And we had had enough of firm politics. I was only a less than 4-year associate. Marty and Elliot were both partners. And one day Elliot approached me and said, "I'm going to start a firm. Would you be interested in coming with me?" And I was a little taken aback. I was a young lawyer and, being at a bigger firm felt more secure. But Elliot's vision, which I think he's actually put on paper, was that we were going to have a practice of friends. We were not going to have the politics, and we were not going to have the drama that was so prevalent in law firms even back in 1977. And so that really appealed to me because, you spend more time with your coworkers at work than you do with your family at home. So it makes it a lot easier when your coworkers are really like your family. And so in 1977, we left and we started this firm. We were sort of an odd pairing because Elliot and I did tax and estate planning, and Marty Pollock did divorce and tort law. But since he was our best friend, we had to bring him along with us whether he wanted to come or not. So that's how we started in 1977. We were trying to be a niche firm doing estate planning and tax planning for our clients, and Marty was doing his torts and family law. As we progressed, doing estate planning for families, you get to know the families, and you get to know family dynamics, and you get to know the players and the characters in the family. So about less than a year after we started practicing, Elliot, who was representing something that was called a software company, which nobody knew what that was in 1977, they began to branch out and become a bigger firm, and Elliot was doing their corporate work. I had a firm that was a pool chemical firm that was being sold to a Swiss firm, and they approached me and said, "We want you to handle this transaction." I looked at them and started laughing. I said, "Hey, I'm an estate and tax lawyer. I'm not an M&A guy." And they said, "You can read a contract. We trust you. We don't want our corporate lawyer." So after getting them to sign that they wouldn't sue me for malpractice, I took that on. It's an interesting story. I met a guy at Sherman and Sterling, which is one of the white shoe law firms up in New York, and he was a little bit older than me, and all he had done was M&A work. And after we did the transaction, he actually started sending me deals that were either too small for them or were located down here. And that led us to really start rethinking the firm. And we decided that the firm really should become a full-service firm for high net worth individuals and their family companies. And so over time, we added other expertise, real estate, more business-oriented litigation. And I think we developed the firm to where we could sit down with a family firm and a family and tell them, we can do your personal planning, we can do your corporate work, we can help you sell your business, we can help you buy businesses. And from that point forward, that was our goal, to diversify and become sort of a one-stop shop for family-owned businesses. And it's really been interesting because our whole business model was driven off estate planning. We met clients because there were lots of insurance guys and CPAs who were recommending us to do estate planning for their high net worth individuals. And that became an entree into all other things, all things corporate, all things employment related. And we, we didn't specialize so much back in those days. So I'm sort of a dinosaur at this firm because I do M&A work and I also do estate planning. It's very rare do you see that combination in firms today. But back then, if we didn't know something, we went out and tried to learn it. And so it worked well for us. We developed relationships with other law firms for things that we didn't do. Like we had clients who were going to go public. We didn't handle that kind of thing. So we had really good friends at some really big firms who would do what we asked them to do, but not try to steal our clients. So the legal community back then was collegial. We all looked out for each other. Don't know if I could say that same thing today. But I think Elliot's vision of a firm that was more free of drama and more closely knit is something that even over all these 40 plus years, we've tried to maintain. As you get bigger, it was pretty easy with 3 people.
Right.
It's not so easy when you have many, many more. But that has always been our goal, and I think that's, it's very gratifying to me to see where the firm is today. All the young people we have here who all, I think, fit the mold. So it's, I get a lot of, in Yiddish, there's a word called nachas, which just really means like honor and cherishing based on how the firm is operating today.
How did you feel when Scott became managing partner of the firm you started?
I went out and bought him a sympathy card because, managing people is difficult. Managing lawyers is impossible. And so that's a job I did for 30 years. And I will tell you, it took a toll on me. I really, it was always on my mind, always something to think about. And we didn't have as good a support system now as we have, like with Mike and with Lori and our back office folks. And so I was doing a lot of that. I was doing all the computations, figuring out all the bonuses at the end of the year. It was just really a debilitating job, and I didn't want Scott to have to deal with that. But he's done and he's thrived, and he has really good help, and he's a much better delegator than I am because I'm just not a good delegator at all. And so, I'm very proud. I mean, it's, to me, it's a legacy that is indescribable, really. But I hope he doesn't keep the job for 30 years. I think
no.
He needs to train a successor so that, when he hits like 50, he's ready to just practice law and not have to deal with all the other stuff.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the CPMT podcast. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to like, subscribe, and follow us on LinkedIn.